Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for the Precious Metals and Critical Minerals Conference. Our next presentation of the day is from Beyond Lithium. Please note, you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for a one-on-one meeting by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Alan Frame, President and Chief Executive Officer, and Lawrence Sang, Vice President of Exploration of Beyond Lithium, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol BYDMF and on the CSE under the symbol BY. Welcome, Alan and Lawrence.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present Beyond Lithium on your program. We're very pleased for the invite and very happy to be here. And welcome to all our viewers and listeners. I thought I'd begin with a little preamble, the disclaimer, of course, which everybody sees. So we'll move forward on that. Now I'll introduce the company and Lawrence will tell you more detail about our properties. So we're a critical minerals explorer. And this is basically our share structure. We did an issue recently at 3 cents, which was pretty cheap, but you do what you have to do. We presently have 56.5 million shares outstanding that trade. We have 11,782,000 warrants. Most of those are at 10 cents or higher. And agents options, 1,000,005. We have stock options as well, primarily SARS. They're out of the money at around 30 cents or so. And our outstanding fully diluted is 73.2. So that's the setup and the share structure for the company. If we could go on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So as mentioned, I'm the president and the CEO. I was with a broker with Haywood Securities a few years back, and I did the IPO for this company maybe 3-4 years ago. I retired about 3 years ago, not quite, and was asked by the principals and founders of this company if I would take on the role of president and CEO. So I thought it would be an interesting adventure. At that point in time, I talked to my longtime friend, Lawrence Sang, and asked him if he'd be interested in joining the company as well, so we could tap into his vast experience, exploration experience. Lawrence and I have worked on many projects over the years for well over a decade, both private and public. So I spent 47 years in the investment business as an advisor and a principal for different companies. And since I retired, this is my public entry. I'm also involved in other things, but this is sort of the main thrust right now. This company started out on a lithium basis, and we've recently done a pivot, which I'll talk about in a moment. Next slide, please. Can we go back one to Graham? I'd just like to talk a moment about him. So Graham Evans and Paul Baxter are two very, very experienced people. These guys are senior advisors and geologists, and they're in an elite class. They've worked all over the world on various projects from A to Z. They're extremely good, well-qualified people. You know, we're fortunate to have them in our friends category. They advise the company, and they basically work on the programs and help Lawrence to pick properties and make different decisions. So we are blessed. We're a very, very small company with a very low market cap, about 2.5 million, and we've got guys that, you know, that represent TechCorp and companies like that. So we're very, very fortunate to have an extremely strong management team. Next slide, please. Yeah, so Critical Minerals, when this company first started, when we did the IPO for them a few years back, lithium was the hot commodity, and the prices were astronomical, and almost everybody and their dog got involved in it. At one point in time, we were the largest landowner of unexplored lithium potential properties in all of Ontario. And that was lots of fun until the price crashed, and then, of course, everything changed. So, but critical minerals are still on everybody's breath. Everybody talks about them all the time because they're our essential way into the future. So we're pretty happy with our present suite of properties, and we'll talk about those a little more as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, Canada is, I mean, since we're Canadians, obviously we're somewhat prejudiced, but it's pretty easy to work here. Yeah, sometimes the permitting in different areas can be a problem, but those are all easy to overcome. Basically, once you get organized and set up, the natural resources in Canada I think they're like totally untapped at this stage of the game. The potential is just huge, and if you have the ability to search hard enough for good properties, you can, as I'll demonstrate in a minute, get properties with huge potential that are virtually unencumbered by other things like royalties and different payments and things like that. So we're pretty pleased with our portfolio. Next slide, please. Yeah, so as I'm saying, I mean, if you look at the map, you can see there's stuff everywhere in Canada. So, the idea, of course, is you have to narrow it down to where you get the best bang for your buck or the most potential for discoveries in the friendliest climate, to bring them forward and progress them through to development. Next slide, please. As I've been saying, it is a very good country to work in. It's very friendly. We have good relationships with our Indigenous partners as well, which is part of today's culture, which probably always should have been, but it certainly is now, and that's a good thing. And we also try to pick our properties that have good access infrastructure, so you don't have to hike for 10 hours or do helicopter supported work, because for explorers, that brings your costs up really high. You don't get a good bang for your buck, just too expensive. So we try to avoid that stuff like the plague, because we're finding, as you'll see in a moment, we've got some darn good properties that are very accessible. Next, please. So we have 3 projects right now. We had so many properties in Ontario, with lithium potential. They were practically unmanageable. They weren't, but it was too vast. And when the price collapsed like it did, the bloom was off the rose for Canadian junior explorers that were just only involved in lithium, especially if you weren't at some advanced stage. So what we did was we pared it down to keeping our Ear Falls project. And the reason we kept that one was because the location is awesome. The infrastructure is fantastic. We have no trouble with power. We have no trouble with water. Towns nearby, people to employ, all the rest of that stuff. Very, very interesting project. We have discovered lithium. We have discovered spodumene, and we're fully permitted to drill. We did a wiki drill program to take a peek at the project, and it lit up pretty good. We have the ability to advance that project at our own speed whenever we want, and we will be working on it again here in 2026. It's the best property that we had with the fewest encumbrances, and we have a good relationship with the vendor, and we're very happy to have that project and anxious to move it forward. We did decide about a year ago, beginning of this year, in fact, that if we just had lithium, we were narrowing down our options. The copper projects are really good, if you can find a good one. And we did find a great project in Owl Creek. And that's through the hard work and due diligence of Lawrence and Graham and others, where they found us some fantastic properties with huge potential, easy access in the Pemberton area. And we've got old grades, historical grades in there that are pretty darn good. They're quite hot, and Lawrence will tell you more about those in a minute. So that's the example of one of the 2 pivots we made away from lithium, but remaining in lithium at the same time. The Rare project is interesting as well. That one and Owl Creek are both in British Columbia. And the interesting thing about the Rare project is we've been aware of it for years and years. I mean, decades ago, Teck had that property and did a bunch of work on it. But the work done is not recent, so there's nothing digitized on it. So it's one of those projects that if you weren't aware of it, you'd never find the darn thing. But we were aware of it. In fact, I've been looking at that project, and thinking it'd be nice to bring it into the inventory for a decade. It just was one of those things. You had to wait and wait and wait and wait. Could never do a deal on it, and then suddenly the deal was there. So Lawrence staked the properties. We got it for a song. There's been lots of money spent on it in the past, and we'll be in the process of digitizing it and getting information that'll be easy to post on the website, and everybody can have a look at it. So we're very happy this year. We didn't have a lot of field activity, but what we did have was a successful pivot from lithium, remaining in lithium, and into copper and rare earths as well. So we really like our portfolio, and we're quite excited about it. Next, please. I'll turn it over to Lawrence now. And Lawrence obviously is the geological brains behind the company, thank goodness, not me. And he'll explain to you about our 3 projects and why we think they're special. Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you everyone for taking the time to be here today. I'm very excited to walk you through our 3 main projects, their potentials, and also the exploration path forward for the 3 projects. Like Alan said, just a few years ago, we were looking at a much larger portfolio of projects, mainly located in Ontario. And today, we have narrowed them down to just 3 main projects. And they all have excellent geology and mineralization behind them. And so now I will start off by going over the Yearforce project. The Yearforce spodumene project is located near the town of Yearforce in Ontario. Again, it has existing infrastructure, good infrastructure, highway very close to the project, got good logging road, access to most part of the project, power line, equipment, local workforce. The current project comprises of over 3,000 hectares in every area, and there's only one final really low-cost option payment to be made in upcoming 2026. And the project is fully permitted for diamond drilling, trenching, and also ground geophysical survey. The project itself is located in a very strategic area. It has great favorable regional geology. We discovered the spodumene mineralization pegmatites in 2023. And then the subsequent years, we did more exploration work, and we were able to outline a 13 kilometers long structural trend that could potentially host more spodumene mineralizations. And the project itself is surrounded by known lithium deposits in Ontario, like the Frontier Lithium Park and Spark, the Green Technology Metals, Ruta and Macomb, Avalon Metals, Separation Rapids. So we are in the middle of all these known deposits. We are in the right area, good infrastructures, and good geology, and the recent work we've done, I think we have a good package to continue to do great exploration in the upcoming season. And in the last 2 years since we discovered the spodumene mineralized pegmatites, we did more extensive work at collecting samples, really try to establish a really comprehensive geochemical baseline of the project, which allow us to systematically explore these projects. We have collected over 200 graph samples. Now with the graph samples of both the host rock of the matter sediments, the batholith, and also the pegmatites, we have a really great solid geochemical signatures and trend of the different lithologies, including the KRB ratios and different fractionation elements to allow us to vector us into the hotter part of the system. And as Al mentioned before, we did a really small test hole program, really testing out just 50 meters below surface. What was the alteration halo around the pegmatites? And what we found that most of the holes have really pervasive and strong alteration around our pegmatites, which suggests a potential larger system in the area. And we did a channel sampling program of our spodumene mineralized pegmatite. We also, with the samples, we completed an XRD and mineralogy study to really characterize the lithium mineralization in the pegmatites and also metasediments. And we now understand that our spodumene it has a really good liberation percentage, allow us to be free once it goes down the path. And also we did a biogeochemical survey. This allows us to continue to explore for buried lithium mineralization because in Ontario area, some areas they had overburdens or coverage that you don't see outcrops. So now with this method, we know the demonstration of it could delineate new targets. And also with the Ontario Geological Survey and resident geologists, they went on site and last year they grabbed more samples and with their work, they have confirmed that their fractionation trend is comparable with our geological model. And some of the samples that we got back, we got up to lithium dioxide up to 4.54% with some of the spodumene pegmatites. And with all the work that we have collected, as you can see, the fractionation trend, the tables below, we can tell when you get the samples back, we know if it's strongly flationated or weakly flationated, really get us to key in where's the hotter part of the system. And now with all the recent mapping and sampling we've done, we have a great understanding of this 13-kilometer trend that allow us to continue to explore for more spodumene mineralizations. And for EFOS, it has a lot of upsides and potentials. With the 13-kilometer trend that we have outlined we only have prospect about 20% of it. But with all the entire comprehensive geochemical database, once we go out there, if we start sampling more rocks, we could tell quickly if we are close to the hot pile system or not. With the test hole, we now seeing that really strong alteration halo, suggesting a much larger system nearby, and also with the successful biogeochemical surveys proven to be very efficient to prospect for buried mineralization. And with this recent work, we're able to extend the known spodumene mineralization trend. We do plan to go back to EFOS in 2026 to do more exploration work. And here is some ideas and plan that we have put together that we plan to do work at EFOS in 2026. One thing is with the recent works, we have delineated some new targets. We would love to go back in, just like in the maps on the right side, in the blue color is the known spodumene pegmatite trend. And now we're starting to see some elevated lithium samples to the southwest of the mineralized trend. And that's where we want to tighten the gap in mappings and sampling. And at the same time, if there's no outcrop, we would start doing geochemical surveys to see if there's anything buried underneath. If we're able to see some anomalous and elevated results, we could, since it's permitted, we can go in and do some trenching work. And with all the work is to delineate multiple targets for future diamond drillings. And that's where we are at EFOS. We have done great fundamental geological work, and we have a good understanding of the overall geology. And there's spodumene mineralization, so we do plan to go back there to continue to explore for this property. And now that brings us to the British Columbia, where one project is one of the two new projects that we acquired and staked in 2025. It took us a while, and like Alan said, we did a pivot or to enrich our portfolio for beyond. It took us some time to review quite a few different projects, and we were able and fortunate to have the chance to acquire this project. The Rare Run project is located within the Rocky Mountain Rare Earth Belt and the margin of northeastern region of Belle Purcell Basin. This basin is known for mineral deposit for lead, zinc, silver, and copper, including the famous Sullivan lead, zinc, silver deposit in British Columbia. And also along this trend and on our property is an emerging rare earth mineral region in BC, and it hosts several promising rare earth deposits along. So we are fortunate to have the chance to work on this project, and we are in the midst of digitizing some of the data, and here's the map to showing some of the data that we're able to digitize and able to compile together and put on some interpretations. The project itself is located in southeastern BC. It's close to just less than 6,000 hectare in area. Again, we own it 100%, no NSR, no further encumbrance. So we know we can just spend our most of our exploration money in the ground to continue to advance this project. And from 2005 to 2017, there's a lot of extensive field work completed on the project, including soil geochemistry, mapping, gravity survey, and access soil constructions. So the projects that we pick up, we already know there's presence of mineralization. It's about going back in there to look at the existing data and how do we do the next phase of explorations. And this project is prospective for both rare earth elements and lead zinc mineralizations. And here's some of the historical samples that we're able to digitize and able to find from reports and maps that we're able to retain. And we were pretty glad that we were able to gather and retain most of the historical data, and that we are in the process of scanning the maps and assay certificates and to digitize them. And some of the numbers that came back over 20% lead, over 7% zinc, and like 6 ounce per ton silver, and half a percent copper, and some other samples even up to 74% lead and 2.79% zinc. For sure, those are graph samples, and with all this work that we put together, now we're seeing with the gravity surveys and also some of the soil geochem anomalies that give us some of the targets that we can immediately go back in there to start doing some potentially tightened mapping, soil samplings, and etc. And for the rare earths present of mineralizations, here's some of the historical geochemistry results of heavy minerals pan concentrates. As you can see, they were able to identify the presence of monazite, which is an important pathfinder for locating prospective rare earth mineralizations. And based on all these heavy minerals pan concentrate, you can see some of those light rare earth elements really a really high concentration at very strong amounts. So we know the presence of rare earth mineralization and lithium mineralizations are present on the property. It's about the matter of time and exploration technique to how do we key in to get closer to the source of the mineralization. So that's where we are at Rare One Project. We are eager to get in there. There's road access there, and my understanding is there's new clear cut in the area. So we expect there will be more new outcrops that we can sample and explore. And we have lined up a crew that could get back in there where the permits to start doing a tightened up soil sampling program in the upcoming seasons. And the third project is the Owl Creek project. It's located around Pampleton, BC. It's located in a geological ridge belt stretching from northern California all the way up to Washington and BC. And it's part of the subduction zones where the oceanic plates dive beneath the North American plate, generating the heat and pressure needed to form the different porphyry, copper, gold, to moly deposits. And some of those comparable Miocene intrusions, similar to Owl Creek, that what we are exploring, like the Mount Margaret porphyry deposits in Washington State, over 500 million tons of historical resource. The News Prosperity in South Central BC, over 1 billion tons in resource. So that's the type of porphyry, Miocene intrusion-related porphyry in the regions, and we are fortunate to be able to stake this project. It's located about 6 kilometers north of Pampleton. Most of the claims that they are open, we're able to stake the claim at low cost. And again, with the work that we've done, the due diligence work we've done, we're able to retain and gather most of the work was completed before, including mappings, local graph samples, soil geochemistry, regional magnetic surveys, and there's some historical drill data. And the opportunities that we see is that in the past, this project has always been explored by either 4 different zones, A, B, C, and D, and some of by zones in Zone A up to close to 2% copper, Zone B close to 1% copper, and Zone C about 0.47% copper, and Zone D is a newly identified areas based on soil geochemistry and also the geophysical surveys. And now with the understanding of all these diorite plutons coming up, they are controlled within these shear zone structures. We do see that this allows and provide beyond the opportunity to go in and explore as one system instead of 4 different subzones. So that's where we think the potential is there, where we can what we can do to connect the dots between the different subzones to show that this is essentially one larger system. And here is the magnetic survey outlined by the regional trend. As you can see, there's a lot of comparable new targets that we'd love to go in. And there's new logging rules in their area to check out if there's more direct outcrops. And I think to going in there, our key will be do more regional mappings. We got to have a better understanding for the alterations of a porphyry system in the area to really fill in the blanks in between the zones. And also potentially we can run some ground IP to incorporate with the magnetic survey that was completed before. And again, the other opportunity that we have is that all the historical we have reviewed, they didn't assay for any gold or other elements. I think that provides beyond an opportunity to really see if there's another commodity that we can explore at this project. So that's the technical highlights of the 3 projects, and there are a lot that we can go over, but I think we have limited time here. We are more than happy to discuss and answer any questions. I will pass this time back to Alan for closing remarks. Thank you, Alan. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. That was a good comprehensive discussion, to say the least. Thank you for that. We're very, very happy with these 3 projects that we have. We haven't had a lot of exploration in 2025, but we're going to change that in 2026. We plan to work these 3 projects as aggressively as possible. We think they have above average potential, and our goal is to create and provide additional shareholder value to our existing shareholders, and obviously to welcome any new shareholders to the fold as well. Thanks again for the opportunity to discuss Beyond Lithium. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that's listened to us. Thank you.
It's Jason, Manager of Communications for Beyond Lithium. There's several questions that have come in, and I'd like to address them for the investors with the time remaining. The first question is from Mark H., and it's for you, Alan. For a new investor looking at Beyond Lithium today, what are the top 2 or 3 catalysts in the next 12 months that you believe could drive a meaningful re-rating of the stock?
Well, to me, the name of the game is all about exploration. You know, when you're doing office work and you're doing accounting and your quarterlies and all the rest of that, that's grunt work, and it's really frustrating because you can't create any value. You can only create value by working in the field. So we do intend, and in fact have recently announced a $600,000 flow-through financing. We just announced it last week. It's going quite well. It's still open if people are interested. It's critical minerals flow-through, so the write-offs are astronomical. I mean, I still shake my head at how good they are, especially if you're a BC resident, because not only do you get your income write-off, but you get your federal tax credit and you get a BC tax credit. So it's almost to the point where they pay you to buy the darn thing. So with that money, we intend to generate and create all kinds of shareholder news and keep people well informed. And to me, that's the only way you can create shareholder value. It has to come off the ground. And that's what we intend to do in 2026 and on into the future.
Thanks, Alan. With the time remaining, I will address the other questions from the investors offline. With a few minutes remaining, could you please conclude the conference in your closing remarks?
Yes, for sure. Firstly, I'd like to thank our audience, everybody that's tuned in today. I appreciate the interest that you're showing us very much. And we will do our best in 2026 to spend the flow-through money wisely and other monies wisely, of course. We've cut down our overhead dramatically in the last year. It was kind of a rebuild year and a pivot year, but that's behind us now. Now we got to go out there and as they say, we got to go get them. We got to create shareholder value, and we'll give it our best shot. We've got a lot of talent through Lawrence and his team of Graham and Paul. I think we've got talent that matches up with anybody on the planet. I like our properties. You know, they're all soft deals with high potential. So I think everybody will have a lot to look forward to in 2026. And if anybody has any other questions whatsoever, feel free to contact me or Jason or Lawrence, and we'd be happy to address them. Thank you very much.